Kent, thanks for joining us on the show, brother. It's good to see you again.
Mate, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, we are 2 weeks away.
2 weeks.
2 weeks away
Like
from.
I knew, like when I was thinking, I was sitting there thinking, and I was like, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and then it was like, I have to do this. So like, very quickly called like my media person and was like, I need this
Yeah,
for the 2 weeks. So
man,
yeah, had to be done.
ticking away, ticking away. But man, like this festival is incredible. Like the lineup is stacked. I mean, I could read it. It's like, see how fast I can read it. We got Crypt, Psychroptic, Low, Astro Death, Misery, Potion, Freedom of Fear, Motion, Mountain Wizard, Death Cult. See, I've already fucked it up. Mountain Wizard, Death Cult, Resin Tomb, Spire, Descent, Remains, Mortality, Nicolas Cage Fighter, Post Life Disorder, Bullet Belt, Lumen Ad Mortem. Did I fuck that one up?
No, you got that right.
Hey, there we go. Okay, let's keep rolling.
Yeah, yeah.
Zeolite, Kaiser Suze, The Rain, Isua, Algor Mortis, Awful Noise, The Black Swamp, Bloody Tyrant, Pestilence, Slow Cut. This one gets me. Is it 6 Ock or Sock?
Maybe you'll have to be there on the day and ask them.
All right, okay. Let's skip over that one. Some Snake Mountain Band, and 308. What a
Yes,
good time.
the boys.
Man. So let's take it back to the beginning. Wow.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
so I mean, you've been in retirement for a long time, and you've come back and brought some other bands back from the grave for this special festival. What? Where did it start? Where did the seed of this thing begin?
Oh, geez. The seed. Well, you know, I had a divorce. Then I realized, you know what? I don't have a hobby anymore. And it was about the same time as I think I was having a midlife crisis. So I went, I know what? Metal festival and bring back all the bands that I want to see. So that's pretty much what happened there.
Man, solid. So who was the first band that you were like, you
Well,
is
honestly, I was thinking, 'cause it slowly started up, had different names in my head, like Resurrection or like, things coming up from the deep and or something, or like, Behemoth Rising or, something like that. And then just came up with Necrosonic out of nowhere. I think I was asleep. And then I went, Necrosonic, that's the one. And got up, wrote that down before I forgot it. And I just was thinking, like, right, I want bands to come back from the dead for this. It's like, oh, these are things that I want to see happen. And I'd sort of been slowly just sort of planting little like inception seeds in a few people's ears over the year, where it had just been like this thought in the back of my head to see if I could grow it in their head. And then I was overseas at Brutal Assault and was just like, this is the most amazing festival I've ever been to. This is so cool. And it just kind of like I was told, I was there with some promoters from Australia, and we are just like talking about it, about stuff I'd done in the past. And they said, you ever going to do something like this again? And I was like, maybe actually, yeah. And it just slowly started growing on me. So maybe they incepted me. I don't know. But yeah, it just started from there. And so about November last year, I'd sort of in my head, I was like, right, I'm doing this. So
and it's all come together. People love the name too. I say that
yeah,
name to people, they go, that's fucking brutal. I'm like, yeah, man, it's awesome. You know,
yeah,
would have been cool when you woke up and you found that note. It's like Necrosonic. What's Necrosonic? Oh,
that's right.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
brutal.
And the first thing I did, I think, was I hadn't used Photoshop in maybe 12 years and was like, all right, I've got to teach myself Photoshop again here. And just like literally jumped on and like stuffed around with all sorts of fonts and ideas, and I actually came up with like the Evil Dead from the movie Evil Dead, like font came up, and I was like, whoa. And then it got the tree idea,
Yep.
like coming into it as well. And then it was like sort of behind the font of it as well. I sort of put like branches and stuff and faded them in there. And it was a good, what should have taken me 2 hours took me a good 12 hours of relearning how to use it. But at the end, I was like, okay, this is cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I mean, this wasn't your, it's not your first show back. You did one last month at Tomcat, Lord K.
Yes.
And I heard, I
Yes.
wish I was there, but fuck, man, I heard it was like really, really good.
It was great. It was great. It was we sold out Tomcat. So having the first show back that I do as a sellout, that was great. I mean, it's not a huge venue, but having Lord Chaos, back playing again, so it sort of played on that whole back from the dead kind of vibe that I had going on. I mean, if I'd known they were a thing, and before that, I might have put them on the first Necrosonic straight up, but I'd already sort of booked everything by the time they sort of came across my radar. But I thought I have to do this, so and it was a good way to sort of promote Necrosonic through that as well, and promote them through Necrosonic. So it worked out, and such a good night, and they were amazing. Good to see, old Estenu from Dimmy Borgir and the Covenant back up there. They all just absolutely killed it that night. So fingers crossed, might see him on Necrosonic next year.
Necrosonic 2,
Yes.
Electric Boogaloo. No one, how come no one actually uses that? They should use that. But man, I think that's fucking awesome. It's good to see you back in action, considering, for a very, very, very long time. I've known you for half my life.
Yeah, just about.
Maybe more than that. More than that,
Okay.
my early 20s, yeah, half my life. And you were the go-to guy, in Southeast Queensland for shows, for metal shows, if it was in Brisbane, the Gold Coast, some of the best nights out I ever had were at those shows. What I
There
remember of
was some
them.
good times. Yeah, what we remember of them, that's the next thing I was going to say.
And all I remember is riding my scooter to work, and then I'd get after work, I close the shop on a Thursday. Then I'd go on the bus to Broadbeach, and then
Yeah.
like, hey everybody, cut scene. And we'd have the best time, man. It was good times.
The
You
good old Brannigan shows, they were awesome.
they were, they were.
So fun.
Oh man. But I mean, obviously, you got to see a lot of bands and you got to know a lot of people through that. And some of those bands you've as resurrected for the festival. Was there a band that, was on your list that you were like, come on, boys, let's do it? And they were like, oh, I don't know. And you're like, let's go. And you had to take a little bit more convincing, but it made it work.
Absolutely. So that would have been Crypt. Um, so I originally sort of went to them and they sort of came back, oh, no, not really. We don't think so. We think the last lot was done. And then look, Cliffy, the bass player, came over to my house on New Year's Eve. And look, it was about 1 a.m. and we were very, very drunk at this point. And well, not from my memory, from his memory, I've launched into this big diatribe of like, dude, you got to do it. This is what I want to do with the scene. This is what I want to do with the show. You got to be part of it, man. And as I said, I barely remember that conversation, but I got like a message like in the next 2 days going, dude, it's Cliff. Like, you really that talk you gave me really inspired me. I'm like, what was that fucking talking? And he's like, well, I've gone back to the boys and we're keen. And I was like, oh my God, Crypt back. Like, so at this point to me, even if the festival fails, at least I've gotten to see Crypt again. So that to me was worth it.
But
One of my favorite all-time bands.
man, that's so good. But I don't think it will because the lineup it's just too good.
Yeah.
You look at it. I never thought I'd see all of those bands. I'm looking at the poster like on the side here, going, man, like some of these
Yeah.
bands are bands that I love and respect as friends, and bands that I used to play with, like the Kaiser Soze boys. Like,
Again, like I planted a seed in Tyler's mind about maybe 8 months before I got back to him, and then went, "Wait, I'm doing it, man. You got to do it." And he got back to me and said, "All right, we're in." So I was like, "Sweet, that is two down." And then Luke Ford reached out to me from Mortality. I hadn't spoken to Lukey in ages, and I think I hadn't seen Mortality play in about 17 years, which was like their last show, which was back then, that was a reunion gig in Sydney, which was just amazing. And then all of a sudden I got Mortality on the show. And I'm like, okay, this is really shaping up to have like this whole Back from the Dead vibe is really kicking in. And they've got guys like two of the guys from Days End, like Aaron and Jason, and the cryogenic singer, Darren Maloney. So it's like some of my favorite musicians in that band, and it's Mortality, man. Like that album is just one of Australia's best ever metal albums. And yeah, if you haven't heard Structure, go listen to Structure. It is amazing.
and of course, you've got Psychroptic headlining.
Yes.
When did they come along in the grand scheme of things?
Well, I originally did ask Psychroptic at the beginning, but they didn't think it was going to be able to work with what they were doing. And I had another headliner planned, but they weren't able to do it at the last minute. And I threw the SOS out to Dave and Lachlan, and they got back and were like, all right, yeah, look, things have actually moved around a little bit, and this could actually work tying with our tour. So Psychroptic, right on there. And that's another band I've known the boys for forever. And just to have them on one of my festivals again now is just great.
So, of course, it's at Mansfield. So,
Yep.
multiple stages, right?
Yep.
So, how's it going to work with, the planning of the set times and everything? Because it's hard enough doing for one,
Yeah.
right? Kind of, you got all the math
Oh,
and science go around.
yeah. Well, that was also came into figure, like having the way I set the set times out came into figure who I put on the festival as well, because there's no point filling the whole day with death metal and then having death metal clashing with death metal like across the stage. So with three stages, there's going to be some clashes. But I have done my absolute best to make sure that the genres don't clash and that there's like enough sort of gaps in between for everyone. And there's a few bands that won't be clashing with anyone. But the way it's going to be set up is like the main room, and then to the left of the stage on the diagonal, there's going to be another massive stage, probably just a little bit smaller than that epic stage that
Yep.
is already in that room, for anyone that hasn't been there. And that's going to have full lighting rig, everything as well. And then for the third stage, I was thinking about the function room that's out there as well. But I've been to a bunch of shows there, and the stage is very low. The ceiling is very low. It's got all those beams and stuff. I'm just like, you know what? I can see people trying to crowd surf and just knocking themselves out on beams, which I know has actually happened before. Like, a few of my friends have come home with like egg lumps or busted ankles and stuff from like the beams. So I'm like, I took a leaf out of what Halloween Hysteria Fest
Yep.
did that, then they put it in the sports bar, and I was thinking, how's it going to work in here? But I went and looked at the footage of what it actually looked like, and it looks great. So I can have a big proper stage, full lighting. We're going to have everything blacked out, so it's going to be not just with light pouring in, the middle of the day for bands, and it's going to be all darkened, all the lights dimmed, TAB closed over, all the pool tables out the road. It's going to be a great room, and because that was the actual one of like the party room at Halloween Hysteria that year too. That was the vibe room that day, so it's going to work well. But the two main stages will be sort of going back to back with like a 5 minute gap in it, and the other sort of stage will be sort of overlapping a bit with some of the bands as it goes throughout the day.
Awesome. Awesome, man. And of course, merch. You got some
Hmm.
shirts coming.
I
And
sure do.
I've seen people, man. I've seen people comment like, "Hey, some shirts," and I've seen them, and they look incredible. So,
Yeah, I've
man,
seen you. You've seen the full amount of merch. I've only done a teaser of one of the front of one of the shirts so far. So there'll be three different Necrosonic t-shirts. with like front and back print. And there'll be two different types of hoodies as well on the day. So that will be
Patches?
quality and they will be amazing. So
Unreal. Patches? They're going to be patches?
look, I was looking into patches, but
Yep.
I literally ran out of time on this one. Next
Yep.
year we'll do patches.
Excellent.
Yeah. Kept it a little bit simple this year and yeah, test the waters.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait. And what else is planned for the day? Obviously, you got the bands playing, but you got some stalls and stuff as well.
Yeah, there's like look market stalls from all sorts of different stuff. There'll be Black and Records, who are one of our main sponsors there, which one of the actual stages is named after Black and Records there as well. So they'll have a stall going. There'll be Bad Habit Records. Oh my God, Round Reptile Records in there. So there'll be a bunch of record stalls, but there will be a bunch of like markety stuff as well, where people can sell their wares and all that sort of thing. But there'll be being 30 bands though, there'll be a massive merch area. So that's one of the headaches where like I was having a meeting last night. Go, where are we going to put all this? We're actually going to have to move this from there and that to there, and just to accommodate like everyone's merch because it's just going to be immense. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff, different stuff going on because Black Flag Brewing also sponsoring the event. So there'll be a few little pop-up bars with like special things for Black Flag, and they've got their stage will be in the sports bar. And then, of course, we've got Heavy Magazine as one of the main sponsors as well, which will be the main stage. So there'll be sort of some roving reporters asking people how the day is, probably like yourself, even maybe. I'm not sure what you've got planned.
Oh, I was going to talk to you
Um,
about that straight after this. But
there you go. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun day, and there'll be some special cocktails on menu and some special food. There'll be plenty of food there for the day. Yeah,
man, it's going to be stacked. It's going to be
yeah.
stacked. Yeah. So there's no excuse. Get amongst it. Get your tickets, guys. It's going to be so
There is no excuse.
massive. Next year though, if
Mm.
all goes to plan, have you already started thinking ahead? Is
Oh,
there
I have.
on your wish list that you could get
I
that?
actually have already locked in one of my absolute goat bands of all time.
Yeah.
I shan't be saying anything on the podcast here tonight, but if you're at the gig, it'll be fired up on the screens when you stay there till the end, along with a couple of other names. But nothing's coming out of the bag. I haven't been drinking since before doing this podcast tonight with you, so that would have been the only way you would have got it out of me.
All right, keep your secrets.
Mm.
Man, I'm so pumped. We're gonna have all the links down here and in the show notes and on the website, brother. Thanks again for hanging out, and we will see you at the
Yeah.
greatest metal festival known to man in the southeast Queensland.
Indeed, sir. And if I could add one last thing on there. So if anyone's worried about how to get to the Mansfield, so there is a bus that leaves every 15 minutes from either like it's either South Bank or the Cultural Centre or Queen Street bus station. So it leaves every 15 minutes. It's an express bus, takes 28 minutes to get there. I think it's bus 180, but that'll be up on the website. You might need to check that. I should have done my research a bit better for that. But and again, it's 50 cents no matter where you're coming from with the whole public transport thing. So, and it stops you literally outside the Mansfield Tavern. You will get out of the bus and literally walk in the front of the Mansfield. So, again, no excuses.
That's right. Unreal, mate. Unreal. Hey, thanks again, brother. We will see you soon.
Yeah, cannot wait, brother. Thank you very much.